Well, hello, this is Peter Combs from Bidamount.com and P.L. Combs Asian Art in Gloucester, Massachusetts. And today is Friday, February 9th, 2018. And as always, we'll take a look at last week's eBay auction results, the things that we had posted in the weekly newsletter. Here's a look at last week's newsletter. There were quite a few good things in there, and a number of things did quite well. It was a good week, especially a good week for shopping and looking around and finding things. There were some very good items on there. And before we get on to that, I want to point out that last week, as many of you know, we started this. We had it in the newsletter and in the mailing we sent out. We opened a forum on the site. This is something we had wanted to do for quite a while. And so far, the reaction's been very good. I'm happy about it. People have come by, posted things, left comments, signed up, had a lot of views. And one of the things that I wanted to point out that we've added is that at the bottom, we found a way to embed videos. So if you have a video out there on Chinese art or pottery or porcelain or robes or jade or whatever it is, you can come over here and you can put the link to it, and it'll embed the video right on the site. And folks can come and watch it. It'll take Vimeo or YouTube or whoever the hosting site is. You can embed it there, okay? And the other thing that we did that I think people are going to really enjoy is that we were able to embed. We did a post and embedded Alan Trong over in France has this a wonderful website. Many of you are very familiar with it. It's an art website. He covers a lot to do with Asian art. He also covers jewelry, European paintings, everything happening in the art world. Alan seems to find a way to get involved with it. And we found a way to put his indexes for all of his Asian art things on here. And if you click this page, you click the button at the top of the forum page, it'll bring you over to here. And what we did was we set up links to his site, Qing porcelain, Ming porcelain, Vietnamese porcelain and ceramics, Tang, Sung, you name it. It's all here. And if you click it, what you're going to see is this. For example, under Qing porcelain, here's an index of all of his Qing porcelains. It's pretty impressive. There's a lot of stuff here. And if you go to the top of the page and click this, the slideshow, it'll begin importing images for you from his archives. And the descriptions are down in the lower left, what they are. And you can freeze it, you can click through it, you can look at things, you can go back and forth. And it's pretty terrific. So give that a look when you have a chance, or if you need to look up something. All right. And now on to last week's auction results. Here we go. This was interesting. This was a big planter that a seller put up. Had some hairlines in the bottom, this kind of thing, at the bottom. But if you're into plants, this was a big planter, late 19th century, maybe early 20th century, but very colorful, very attractive. And because of those little cracks on the bottom and a fairly high shipping cost, the whole thing delivered to you went for about $250. I think this was, or not even $250, $228, including shipping to here anyway, from Ohio. The seller is 77 Pud. He gets good things. And I think this was a terrific buy for someone if spring is coming. And if you want to have something nice to put plants in, this was a pretty big planter. It was about 18 inches. All right. He had another one up that went for about the same price. So I think that was a pretty good buy for someone. All right. And then there was this vase. This was a nice, probably Kangxi period turquoise glazed bottle vase. It was a nice looking pot. Here's a view of the bottom. If it's not Kangxi, it's certainly 18th century. There's the bottom of it. Good looking pot. And a nice glaze on it in good condition, and it did very well. It brought $4,161. We featured that on the page because it looked like a very interesting thing to us. And now on to this. This was that pair of 13, 14-inch Kangxi plates that had been up before. Somebody didn't pay their bill, and the seller bravely relisted it, and they brought $1,500, which I think is around what they brought last time. Certainly within a few dollars of it. These were very nice. I don't think this was an expensive pair of plates at all. They're nice looking, and you get a pair of them for $1,500. I think that was pretty good. And then on to this. This was a bit of a surprise to me. This was a nice catagon. These, they call them puzzle pots. let's see, here's the bottom of it. That's where you fill them, and you fill them through the bottom and so forth. And most of the time you see these in Celadon, or you'll see them sometimes in Famille Jaune. But this is more in Famille Vert, and I thought it was pretty good. And this was the same age as all of the other ones, and I think a lot more interesting, frankly, than most of the ones you see around, because there's a scene on it, rather attractive. And it went for a fairly modest amount, $419. Typically, these catagons or puzzle pots, so they're peach formed, sell for in the $600 to $800 range, $550 to $750. This one only went for $419 US, 300 pounds. I think that was a rather good buy. I think that was a very, very reasonable purchase for an interesting pot. And then there was this bronze, this arrow. They call them arrow vases because it has these loops on the sides. It goes back to what was known as the arrow game. At any rate, this is what it was. This was probably an 18th century example, maybe late Ming, but nice surface, nice patina on it. Pretty good looking all the way around. Nicely cast, rather fine casting. And I think it was a good buy, $780. This particular seller, Famille Fan, is not a terribly active eBay seller, but gets good things. And they had this, and it brought $780, which I think was perfectly reasonable. As I recall, it was around 10 or 12 inches tall, or 8 inches tall, excuse me. And but nice looking object. And then there was this big, rose mandarin meat platter. It has the drain on the bottom and all that, but it's a big platter and very nicely decorated. Good bright colors, very well done all the way around. Here's the back of it. You can see the drain ridges and all this. Clearly a first half of the 19th century piece, and excellent quality. And it also did well. It brought $1,025. And this is sort of encouraging because lately there's been a number of these mid-19th century export plates that weren't getting a lot of love a few months ago, and suddenly they seem to be gaining some traction. So we'll have to keep an eye on that space, see how they do coming up, as things go along. And then there was this very, very nice aubergine glazed 18th century incense burner. Nice color, it had a few nicks out of it here and there, and so forth, but a good looking pot. And it brought $1,000 on the nose, exactly $1,000, but a good object. And then there was another turquoise pot. We saw the first one that went for $4,000 that was early 18th century or so. This is another nice one. I don't think it's as early. It has nice decoration on it. It had flowers. It was pretty, but maybe not quite as old, judging by the glaze. And but a good quality thing. And here's the bottom of it. Nice looking base on it, obviously an old one. There it is, but probably late 18th century or so, I would guess. And it brought a little less, $1,244. And both of them were around the same size as I recall. What a difference 100 years makes. And then on to this, the rank badge. We had a couple of, we're going to have a bunch of rank badges, I think, this week. We found quite a few that were really nice. This was a nice one, good clean design, in good condition. The colors were all still good, nice soft pinks and so forth. And how did it do? It brought $1,026. It was a good badge. All right, if you collect rank badges, eBay is a great place to find them. They turn up here often. And then there's this Vajra. There's been a few of these Tibetan Vajras. It's a ritual object made of bronze, and they're quite collectible. And we've had, I think this is the third or the fourth one in the last month or so. This was a nice one. It had a very nice deep color to it, good condition, and it did quite well. It brought $867, which is sort of on the high range of what some of these have been bringing lately, but it was a good one. It was very attractive and probably 18th century. Nice old one. And then there was this badge. Now, this was the seller put it up as Korean. I probably have to agree with him. And Korean rank badges don't turn up very often. And this was a very nice one and in beautiful condition with very good colors. And it did very well. It brought $2,016. Korean rank badges are not that common. So if you have a chance to buy them, do. It's funny because Korean robes don't bring as much as Chinese robes, but good rank badges from Korea do very well. It's curious. And then there was this. This was from our friend Hans over in the Netherlands. Hans 4902, whatever his number is, I forget. His name is Frake, and he had this very pretty. I commented on this last week because I liked it a lot. I liked the colors. This Famille Rose 18th century plate with these lotus lappets running around the rim. And I think it was a fairly reasonable buy for someone. It was an 8-inch plate. It wasn't a great big plate, but I thought very pretty. And someone paid $200 for it. I think that was a very fair price because it's sort of an unusual plate. And he also had this up. This is obviously a later 19th century or second half of the 19th century dish. But I thought the pattern was quite unusual with these flowers and so forth. And this hanging bag from the tree tied in silk. Sort of interesting, and here's the back of it right here, nice looking, typical later 19th century piece with these sort of bamboo sprays running around them. You often see them on plates from this period, and it went for $698. It's a good looking dish. And then on to this. This I thought this brought quite a lot. I'm not saying the guy overpaid, but he's getting up there. A very attractive cobalt blue glazed monochrome vase, but a later 19th century one from what I could see. Here's the foot rim of it. There's the mouth, this slightly blued tone on the inside. Nice looking pot and apparently very good condition. These often have little scratches in them and so forth from use because it just tends to show up if they're not decorated. And but it brought $3,000, which was kind of a surprise to me. It was a handsome thing, but I didn't think it would bring that. I thought it would bring around a bit less, say that. And then I put this in. I was wondering if it would get any interest. It's a very nice, very early Chinese carving of a god or some sort of deity, and but very nice old carving, probably Ming, and excellent quality. The facial characteristics on this were just terrific. Here's the face, really nice. So it was a Lohan, and I didn't know if anybody would notice it, and a few people did, and it ended up going for $1,425. It was a nice piece. Somebody emailed me and asked me why I put it, and they actually want to know why I bothered putting it in the newsletter. They didn't think much of it. Sorry, I thought it was pretty nice. And then there was this. This was our friend Will over in England had this. This was a really nice liver red vase, nice monochrome with a chin-lung mark. And he rightly pointed out that it was probably late 19th century or early 20th, somewhere in there. But very pretty, very nice glaze on it. There was a similar one, same period, that was at Christie's a few years ago. Went for about $5,000 or $6,000, and lo and behold, this one did the same. It brought $6,649, which is not an overpay for that. That's a fairly desirable type of vase. And then there was this. This was you may remember about 3 weeks ago, there was a very similar teapot to this, identical virtually, but it wasn't the same one. This one was in a little rougher shape, and the other one brought around $1,000 or $1,100, as I recall. This one has been bounced around a little more. It looks like there's a crack on the handle and so forth. And it still did pretty well, despite that. It brought $776. Not bad. And then this was a gem of a teapot. This particular seller had a couple of really nice teapots up. This is a nice 1770s Chinese export teapot. Beautiful quality, though. The decoration was just excellent on it all the way around. This patterning here on the end was very crisp, very clear. They had this very nice black and sort of Greek key border running around the rim, and it did fine. It sort of hit into the upper ranges of what export teapots bring these days. It brought $960, but it was a good pot. It was a very attractive pot. And then the same seller had this one up. This also was a nice, these didn't go with the stands, by the way. He was just using the stands as props. But again, a nice 18th century export pot. I love this. There's a little boy here, and he's holding a string. And sometimes people mistaken these for cracks. That's not a crack, it's a string. And he's he's got a butterfly kite. He's flying. And this one did pretty well, too. It brought $790. So I get the feeling that maybe export porcelain is starting to get a little love and a little traction. And then you have plates like this sort of nice Famille Rose, puce, Dutch export plate. Beautiful quality, 18th century, probably from the 1760s or 70s. And look at this, it did great. It brought $1,406. Nice one. And the same seller also had, I think, the next piece, this grisaille decorated plate with gilt, very attractive. And this one brought $1,219. So it seems like somebody's breathing a little life back into the Chinese export market. Be interesting to see if it's catching on. And then there was this plate. This was a nice plate. If those of you are familiar with this, it's a rather interesting scene. It's a Chinese taste scene, which made it, I thought, sort of a charming thing. But it was missing its liner. If you look right here around this rim, you see that little stepped edge. I mean, most of you know this, but I'm just pointing it out in case anybody doesn't know. When you see these little stepped edges, it means that there was a liner, generally, that went on top of this that was pierced, and it was for putting meat on it, and this so it would drip through into the lower section. And it was missing its liner, but it was a very attractive scene nonetheless, and very good quality decoration. And it was export, but very much in the Chinese taste. And again, everybody knows I like horses. This one had horses in it. And look what the price it brought. It brought $1,844. And that might have been bought by somebody in China because it was a very Chinese taste plate. But again, export pieces seem to be doing pretty well suddenly. We'll see if it continues. And then there was the nice looking pair of Kangxi dishes. Nice pair with the green ground rims, birds in the center. Quite attractive and in overall pretty good shape. There's a little edge roughness on this one here and a little bit over on this one. But overall, they were a nice looking pair of plates. And they brought $558. Not bad at all. All right. And then there was this. This was another export piece with a Mandarin scene with adults sitting around a table, the women pursuing some leisurely thing, and children being spoken to, and so forth. But nice use of negative space. And these kidney-shaped dishes I've always thought were rather good for displaying purposes. And this plate was around 8 inches long, and it did pretty well. It brought $267. All right. But for a nice kidney plate, I think that was a reasonable purchase. And then there was this nice 18th century with underglazed red decorated vase with later mounts. It was sort of a handsome ewer, and not something that would necessarily be chased by Chinese buyers. So I suspect it sold to somebody probably in Europe or the United States. But a handsome thing and a good size, and it did pretty well. It brought $875. It was a nice object, quite attractive. And then there was this gugglet. These turn up from time to time. Often people date them much older than they are. This one was made in the late 18th, early 19th century, somewhere in there. There's a little brown dressing on the rim and so forth. I saw there's some seller out there that has one of these on eBay. He's got it listed as transitional period. He's mistaken. But at any rate, this one went for $512. All right, not bad. All right. And that's it, sort of, for the week on those things. And, check out the forum on what's coming up. Oh, there's a few things that we found that are coming up this week. This was something we saw that we thought was really pretty nice. He's got it listed as a paperweight. I guess it is. But it looks to be an 18th century thing with a nice crackle glaze on it and this fan cutout with flowers, peonies in it. Rather good looking, and Gunnar Jacobson over in Sweden has this. I mean, that's a nice looking thing. It looks like it might have a little bit of a loss in here, perhaps. Okay, you notice there's a little part of scroll missing here, and over here it's not. But other than that, I think it's pretty nice. And it looks unusual to me, and that's up. That'll be in the newsletter this week. And then there's this. There's a nice Kangxi plate that'll be in there. With Femme decoration. And we came across this robe. This is a nice robe. It's very pretty. Beautiful quality. Nice 19th century robe. All very well done. And I love the flowers in the skirt at the bottom, down at the very bottom here. Some nice flowers. And there's other stuff too. And then this bronze will be in there. This is a good loop handle bronze with dragons on it. Nice patina. Good old one. Ming or before. And that's it. All right. I hope you all have a great weekend. And check. We'll be sending out the newsletter this afternoon, as we always do. And if you haven't signed up for it yet, please do visit the forum. Subscribe here on YouTube, and we'll be back next week. All right. Everybody have a good weekend, and thanks so much for stopping in. Bye-bye.